We'll figure it out now. There's a Scion. They were thinking about it for a while, so now the ball is back into NIP's side of the court. What is Solo Kill going to play without that Scion at his disposal? Again, Game 2 has really been where NIP have thrived. They have, you know, after a win or a loss, gone 5 for their last 5 when they have gone to game number 2. And so that's a good sign for them if they want to try to even the series up, but it won't be with the Scion for Solo Kill. Instead, getting something for Aki early with the Pantheon.
Should just be a Taliyah hover. I think that that's fair, and recognizing that Solo Kill doesn't have very many bullies that are going to be able to deal with the Yorick early. We're not getting the Taliyah at all here from Invictus. I think this is very strange. It's one of Rookie's most played. It's incredibly dominant on the patch right now, and I think breaking up the Taliyah Pantheon combo is something that they can look for. So it looks like instead we're not going to get that useless Lee Sin champion picked in for Jiejie.
There we go. Took a while, but then we finally do get the lock-in here of that Taliyah. Now we see what NIP want to respond. How exactly do they want to situate themselves for Doinb with the Pantheon in the mid-jungle? That Taliyah has been such an age-old combination, at least this season. But the Annie could work out as well, and it's a really good matchup into the Taliyah specifically.
Yeah, being able to catch her out, I think this mid-jungle is so deadly. This could be another game where we see Doinb really step up and be a carry, but up against BLG, they had some moments where they were over-chasing. They ended up throwing a 6-0 lead. That moment is seared into my mind, giving over that massive shutdown. And now a Kaisa. So overall, Ninjas Pyjamas are looking to kind of make a dive composition with this Annie, now with Kaisa and Pantheon as well. They're going to have a ton of burst damage and a little bit of scaling thanks to some of the Annie changes that she's been receiving patch after patch.
Yeah, the Tibbers really packing a punch now, especially when you go that Malignance build. So that's where Doinb is going to really be able to shine here as we figure out what exactly IG want to lock in to wrap this first phase up. It will be the Xayah to go against the Kaisa here for Leave, so providing a little bit of extra safety, especially against the full dive composition that NIP have already locked in. Makes sense for Gala as we head into that second phase of ban.
All right, so I wonder what this is going to look like from the jungle, because right now this is a situation where Gala's most likely going to have early wave push with the Xayah early on. And especially with having a Yorick in a side lane, you always have to be thinking of like, hey, can we maybe make a numbers advantage on the opposite side? Does Taliyah ever walk down bottom lane using her Weaver's Wall if they are afraid of a dive happening on either side lane? So a really strong jungler and someone who's going to be able to help prevent some of these dives, or at least slow down fights under turrets, could potentially get a lot of value here. I'm thinking Skarner potentially. I'm thinking maybe even a Maokai here. I know it's a bit early, but just being able to have that kind of lockdown and set up for your team feels really, really nice.
Yeah, you know, something like a Maokai would still pair great with the Taliyah, other than the fact that, you know, you have double magic damage in your mid jungle, but you can combine the Twisted Advance with the Seismic Shove, just like you can do the same thing with that point and click W of the Pantheon. And there's already a lot of champions that love to go in, so I would not be surprised to see that one picked up here for Jiejie, as we are targeting the support pool so far here into the second ban phase. Right now, we still need a champion for Solo Kill. I was maybe expecting some Yorick counters to be taken away, but instead it's just full on to the support position, as we are running out of things to play very quickly.
Dude, who's going to be the engaged support this game? Because now we've gotten rid of all of them. Alistar gets Fearless banned. There's no Meiko. And now the last 4 bans of this draft are all of the, like, premier level engaged supports that kind of start off fights and are very tanky. I thought maybe Leona was going to have to be the 4th ban here, but kind of cuts off a lot of what both teams really want to be able to do. And are we going to be seeing an Enchanter paired with this Kaisa? Now you have this Poppy coming on through. Maybe your best look is a Braum, but that sounds really miserable to play.
Oh man, yeah, this is the power of that Fearless draft, because even if you ban these champions away, like, you also would have had like an Alistar or Nico available if you were in a normal draft phase. But now that we are in Fearless, that pool really getting pinched in this situation, Alk, and it might just be a Shen that could be flexible at this point. ppgod could move into the support position. We still have to wait to see what this final lock-in is here for NIP.
All right, they take the Maokai away. I'm gonna be honest, Grapes.
It's probably Maokai
if this is Shen support, I think we might be leaving the game. I think we might have to leave the game. Ooh, they actually used the Poppy as a flex here. Obviously, we hadn't seen Jiejie really lock in a champion, and something that we kind of didn't super note. So, recognizing that if you're going to be playing into this Braum, or you're playing into the Maokai, Braum's going to be able to help. It's another champion that we had kind of noted that we're saying, okay, what are IG's options of kind of making it difficult to look for dives? So now you're going to be playing into, if you're diving Yorick, he's going to have potentially all of the prison that he has access to. Jiejie could be on that side of the map. And if you're diving this bottom lane, you're playing into Xayah and Braum. This is notoriously very difficult. So NIP might actually have to switch up a little bit of their style here and actually end up trying to play a kind of a mid-ranged focus composition that's focused really hard on making sure that Doinb and ppgod are able to find engagements for your team before anything else happens.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Shen going to the top lane and the Maokai going to the support position. Shen, we saw, had a good matchup for Sheer in the top lane against the Yorick that was whipped out here by Allah. You can do a lot of that % health damage. You can duel pretty effectively in that side lane, especially to start the game off. The question is, of course, as you mentioned here, Alec, what can NIP do when they are forced to full engage? It's going to be a lot on solo kill and Aki specifically. I'm expecting that Stand United to either be used to peel leave or to just go straight onto the Pantheon to have a two-man dive onto the backline.
And Invictus Gaming, I mean, you're looking at this team composition, you just have such a stalwart amount of frontline. I will say they are a little low range, and that becomes a bit problematic when you are playing against champions like a Kai'Sa, like an Annie, where you're going to have to walk into them, especially if there's a Maokai and a Pantheon kind of roaming around. But I really do expect that Taliyah, the Unraveled Earth by itself, is going to make a lot of games really difficult, and then just the rest of the setup from this team. We'll have to see. NIP, are they going to be those Game 2 merchants that we're expecting, or are they going to be able to deliver here against IG?
Here we go. Game number 2 started. We got a lot of support from the fans here in Shenzhen, both from NIP and IG. Looks like we got some pretty even coverage in terms of our support here. Again, Invictus Gaming looking to win their first series of the calendar year against Ninjas in Pyjamas and keep themselves alive for a spot in top 4, which would get them an automatic berth into the playoffs. NIP playing mostly for pride at this point, but wanting to make sure they don't drop further from the 9th position that they currently do possess.
Yeah. If IG want any chance of getting into top 4, they need to 2-0 every single one of their series and pray that JDG lose a couple more games. Otherwise, they are going to be looking at playing against a Group Nirvana team, which we do expect for them to still win at the end of the day, but just having that free auto bid going in definitely helps a lot. Schedule and format were released earlier today, so if you missed that, make sure you're checking out on Twitter. You especially, she has been great at being able to post a lot of that information, so we'll see what IG are able to do. We see that both junglers are pathing up towards the top side, but Aki giving himself a little bit more leeway to move around the map.
Oh, you already see some power of this Braum lane that Meiko has set up. Remember, kind of a flex last minute to allow for another support champion to be picked up here by IG. Could prove to their benefit as long as Jiejie is able to get off to the right foot here into this jungle matchup as well. Poppy into the Pantheon should have himself a pretty good time. Can cancel, of course, some of the dashes and the jumps forward that Aki wants to go for, but it's level 2 actually hit by leaving ppgod first.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they were able to hit the minion waves first. Aki's going for some different pathing here. He went for Raptors. He's now on his Grom. Is he going to try and end on bottom side? He's flipping his pathing very long. We've seen this from a couple of our junglers recently, going for some different stuff in the games. Aki's going to finish his blue buff, and then what are his options? Maybe he visits mid. Top lane's looking very susceptible, but I mean, solo kill needs to be able to land a taunt, and you're still looking at both summoner spells up for both of these top laners.
Yeah, pings right to the top side where TheShy has not warded just yet. He's going to get taunted up by solo kill, and the 2v1 will begin. Jiejie's not in the area, so it will be the Yorick completely isolated. We'll see if he can get out. Not a ton of damage issue just yet. Oh, the flash to follow. A lot of resources used, but they will find the mark. Solo kill getting first blood for NIP with the help of Aki.
Let's go. That's exactly what we needed to see. He's going to push this wave. TheShy shouldn't miss out on too much of this gold and experience. But that first kill going over to the Shen, feeling good and getting solo kill started up feels pretty nice, and honestly a bit of creativity coming in from NIP early. Exactly what we wanted to see with Aki on this Pantheon.
Yeah, we don't often see anything other than full clears for junglers early on in these games because it can result in, let's face it, like big problems breaking open if it does not go right. So a bit of a risk that Aki took there, but it ends up paying off, even though it costs them 2 flashes for 1. TheShy getting denied a little bit more in terms of that experience and just getting taken down is going to end up being big at the end of the day, now that they did get the kill.
And he'll have his red buff here on the bottom side, plus access to respawn Raptors, so he should be able to slingshot, at least get back into a even enough state, especially with that assist going his way. I feel like the jungle pathing and more aggressive finds coming in is feeling really good. I'll hold that as ppgod.
Oh, Lee playing very aggressive. Doesn't know that Jiejie is here. He now flashes away, but it's going to come at the cost of ppgod going down. Gala getting the kill, and IG bounce right back.
That's the problem with this Maokai lane. It is notoriously incredibly weak, especially against non-engaged champions, and Braum, such a strong champion level 1. I'm sad to see that Cubby is going to be up in the air in about an hour and a half's time in LAX, but
yep.
I mean, having this Braum and this Xayah, you have such a potent 2v2. Leave has to be careful. He's more than likely going to be catching this wave, especially with Maokai running out of base. But if Meiko lands another Q, I feel like maybe they could try to fish for something. They're just going to take their recalls instead.
As long as he didn't get hit by the Q, would be fine. And there we go. Able to at least clear this wave out, but it's a small consolation here for Leave and the rest of the NIP bot lane is Jiejie coming down there. Again, kind of playing off of the missed tempo that Aki used to get the kill onto TheShy up there. Was able to finally even things up a little bit here. So making sure that Gala's ahead is good, as we see him picking up a BF sword off of his first back, so you know he's going to be feeling good about himself.
Hey, look, Leave does the same. Leave has actually been a big proponent of going for the crit Kai'Sa. A lot of Kai'Sa builds have been kind of dependent on whether or not you're the AD carry that's going to have an easier time pushing in mid-wave. Does land onto Doinb, but I just don't think it's very real. But he has been, again, going back to Leave, he has been so focused on these crit marksmen, making sure that, hey, I'm going to be a big team fighter. I want to make sure that I can have the highest DPS potential possible if I'm just right-clicking these guys in the head.
And you mentioned it at the start of the draft of game number 1. When Lee is able to play something like this Kai'Sa that can really flip a game on its head when making plays, that's when NIP have been able to find their most success. Because without Leave, NIP doesn't really have a full carry to play through a lot of the time. Solo kill's been a lot on that weak side duty. Doinb notoriously playing for the team type of guy, so without a strong ADC, NIP would not look very strong, which is why it's good to see Leave kind of have the performances that he's had this season.
Yeah, Doinb actually, surprisingly, early on in the season, despite some of the credit that we kind of take away from him from playing the lane, actually had some of the best laning stats. Like, I think his gold at 15 was above average and potentially best in the league. He had some pretty good gold generation. It was just that CS mark that kind of fell below the average of a lot of other mid laners. But you look at Leave all season long, 30% damage share for his team, the highest in his role and highest across the league. DPM, highest in the league and highest in his role. Like, even gold per minute in CS, Leave is some of the best. It's just that they're not able to convert, and some of that is his fault. Leave, positioning-wise, has had a lot of questions thrown his way, whether or not he puts himself in danger, if he's necessarily in the best parts in the fights. But I think part of that also has to deal with the fact that NIP are just... They force a lot of team fights, and they are not the best team fighters in the league. You would think with that much practice you would be the best, but that is just not the case.
So if NIP want to win this one, it's going to have to come off the back of that team fighting, because that's the composition, that's the 5v5 that they've set up for themselves. When you have this Shen able to join, Leave with that Stand United, or even dive alongside Aki, you're going to have to make the most out of that opportunity, and so the pressure is going to be on Leave once again, as he is building towards that Wild Arrow's first item that does signify the crit build, as you were alluding to, Alk. And for IG, you could maybe play things out a little bit differently. You have, of course, the Keeper's Verdict from Jiejie to try to yoink members away from the fights. You have TheShy on the Yorick, who's going to be able to split push very nicely with the Maiden in hand. And so maybe for IG, it's less about playing the full 5v5s and trying to deny the opportunities for those fights, for NIP.
Maybe there's a play here on the top side. Now, ppgod needs to be around this top lane wave because he's going to hit level 6 here. Both supports having access to their ultimates. I'm looking at Doinb right now. He has Flash and he has Tibbers. It's going to be at least one grub
going to find
over.
it. It's on to 2 immediately, and Jiejie's forced to flash away, but they go right towards Doinb, who gets singled out and taken down by the Poppy. 1-0 in favor of IG so far. Keeper's Verdict sends away one. Aki's able to get at least one of these grubs, but now Leave and Aki are isolated. The Winter's Bite connects. The Seismic Shove does too. Feats of Warfare for Invictus Gaming, and they're not done just yet. PP got forced to go over the twisted advance. Leave. Now it's to try to pop off here in a 1v3. He finds 1 kill, but that's all that'll get. A teleporting from... It's going to be Doinb to try to rejoin this fight, as Solo Kill has not been able to help out his team at all. IG go up massive off of that play. They get 2 of the 3 grubs, and they go 3 for 1 overall.
How did Solo Kill not have his ultimate go off? Did either the target died or he got interrupted? Oh my god, he actually gets interrupted by the edge of the cage. Ah, that's really good. Again, TheShy, man, showing off some of the Yorick mechanics there, but I want everybody to watch that fight again. Every time we go into replays, man, I feel like I'm a negative Nancy, but just, I saw Leave, and he made a couple of mistakes. I'm not going to say he choked it. This is not a high-pressure situation, but that ultimate looked a bit sus as we get right into this replay. And this is such an impossible fight for NIP. Even with them finding all of this damage, look at the rest of your team is. Leave is never jumping in here. This Maokai ultimate doesn't land on the very many members. I love what Meiko does in this fight as the Braum. And then look at Leave. When he presses his ultimate, the shield comes through. We're not going to even see it. It's just going to be TheShy dying.
Yeah, he's going to be able to punch back a little bit onto Solo Kill, though, and Aki is actually separated far enough that Solo Kill might go down to the Maiden. A stun will connect, and the Aegis comes through, and so Solo Kill will survive, albeit barely, as TheShy falls.
TheShy knows. He saw that little grin there. He's like, all right, you know what? Fine. I'm not going to be able to get anything there. I had to use my flash. Goes down. Doinb will take over this wave. Solo Kill will have to invest the teleport down up into the top side. But it's more plates falling over to Invictus Gaming. They got 2 of the grubs. They even got the first dragon. They're a single objective away from yet again getting feats of strength here.
Second time in a row would be very beneficial, as IG off to a bit of an early lead, although NIP still have multiple angles to get back into this one. Their team fighting still is superior. However, now we look at Gala, right? And compared to Leave, who has to be such a big player in these team fights, he's in a really good position. Already has the upgraded boots, whereas Gala does not. And that lead will continue to grow if something is not done about it quickly.
And a big problem that's going to be kind of coming on through for NIP is that a lot of their burst is single target focused. Again, something like this Shen, and Rookie has to be careful. He has the phase rush, so thankfully he gets away. But when you look at what they have, it's kind of like, okay, we're going to throw Tibbers, we're going to throw a Maokai Flash engage alongside our Pantheon, and that guy is going to die. But then IG are like, cool, so we have all these feathers down, we've got a Braum potentially. Poppy is basically going to make almost all of these champions from NIP incredibly miserable for all 35 to 40 minutes of this game. Like, I feel like this is a game that we need to see NIP really swing out the gate. And so far, I think has been really stifled, especially because of that Grubs play.
Yeah, Jiejie with the Keeper's Verdict there to knock away ppgod. That's a sign of what things are to come. If they can use that nicely onto like a diving Aki or a Solo Kill coming out of that Stand United, that could be a really big opportunity for IG to take advantage of, making it a numbers advantage for themselves and, you know, winning out in a fight that way. Because in the 5v5, if Leave gets really good positioning, is able to, you know, style on him a little bit, it should be beneficial here for NIP. So it's up to IG to make sure that doesn't ever happen, as they're the ones to start up the second dragon. It would get, again, be the feats of strength if they pick it up.
Pantheon is not really in the area. Maybe he goes over this wall, but I mean, no one's in position. Feats of strength going over. It's going to be those first 3 objectives, and again, the first 2 dragons of the game going over to Invictus. I think kind of coming back to some of that itemization that we were talking about, again, without going for static Shiv on this Kai'Sa, it is so much easier for Gala to just walk up to midwave, use a spell or 2, and because all of the feathers are ripping through the minions at the same time, they just have mid-priority. They have the first say on moving out of the waves and getting into Fog of War and moving towards objectives. So it's going to continue to be a problem for NIP. Obviously, once Leave gets his evolves and all these things start to come on through, it gets a little easier for them. Maybe there's a play on top side. Aki does have ultimate.
Yeah, but the full tower is there here for TheShy, and you can now start to see Ghoul's doing a little bit of work. You know, they do get blocked by the Spirit's Refuge of the W from the Shen, but you only have that up every 25 seconds or so, especially here at rank 1. So you want to make sure you don't waste an ability like that, especially when you might be looking for a bigger play later on. You see Meiko and Jiejie here to support TheShy just a little bit. And actually a full deployment here towards the top side with this Herald spawning in a little bit over a minute.
25 seconds. Someone's been playing Shen. I had to look because I was like, there's no way a basic ability is 25. It's 16.
It's long.
16 at rank 1. But that one was like, I knew you were flexing a little bit. You're flexing your top lane knowledge. Okay, bro. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
It feels like 25 seconds sometimes.
When you're playing a champion, like, oh hell yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I'm not going to have this for a while now. So, you know, the player on this timer is definitely pretty important.
All right, well, we've got a little bit of time here. We've got a minute before the Herald. We're actually getting an ultimate coming on through. Rookie.
No time when you can get stunned up. No! He uses the Weaver's Wall successfully, and Doinb's unable to get the stun off in time. So that's a lot of resources utilized. No Grand Starfall anymore for Aki.
I think if you actually use the Tibbers ult there, because it's instantaneous, maybe that could have shoved Rookie off. But again, just conjecture. I think that I'm kind of a oh my god, leave no cleanse before the stun even comes through. That's a pretty big summoner spell, and like we said, we're already missing out on the ultimate from Aki.
Leaf might have thought he had barrier. That's what it looked like there, trying to just soak up a little bit of the damage, but instead not finding anything. That could be big with the Rift Herald about to spawn. Nobody around that pit right now, but eventually, if that is started up by Invictus Gaming, that is a key cooldown that the main carry of NIP will not have.
I mean, they're not going to be able to contest now. Like, Aki's recalling. Maybe they send something in with Solo Kill, because Solo Kill's sitting under his turret. He doesn't have much pressure on his side of the map. This is going to be Herald. It took one play from NIP to kind of mess this up, and now with IG pressuring them, Talia's on the way, but doesn't have that's going to be a teleport out from Doinb.
He's going to be in the fight first. However, TheShy has rejoined the rest of his team. The Herald's at 5,000 HP. Aki can steal this with a Comet Spear Smite combination. And here comes a huge taunt from Solo Kill combined with the crowd control of ppgod. It results in NIP picking themselves up the Herald, and the jump forward will shut down Gala. Ninjas in Pyjamas. This is the game 2 magic, baby. As they pick themselves up the Herald, there goes Lee with the killer instinct. It takes down Meiko, but it gets now knocked back by the seismic shove of Rookie, and NIP will be forced to retreat.
Wow, Leave in that fight, getting a lot of damage, but Solo Kill and Aki getting it done in that fight. That was a make or break fight. If IG were able to grab the Herald and still win on that, I feel like that should have been lights out here in this game number 2, but NIP make it look competitive at least here in this series and are able to yet again find a victorious team fight for themselves where they got the Herald at the same time. Rookie trying to make an extra play here, trying to catch out Doinb. That is not going to be the case. He pays him back, and that's still more important damage down going over in a top tier 1.
This is a setup that all you said was going to be unplayable for NIP, but really nice taunt combined with the Tibber allows for that to not be the case.
Yeah, ppgod's that ultimate, the twisting, just makes it impossible for them to play. I know I was saying that NIP shouldn't be able to enter back in, but Aki had actually gone back into the pit a lot sooner. We're back to live. TheShy's getting owned. All right, sure, keep making plays on side. But again, just having the Pantheon, having the Maokai, being able to set up for your team, so important. We saw that Aki flashes forward to actually find and engage onto Gala, knowing that he doesn't have ultimate. So I think a great performance yet again coming in from one of the newest members of NIP in Solo Kill.
That taunt just gave him so much opportunities for things there. As Jiejie will give a little. That was very rude to Tibbers. We used the Hex Flash and everything there. Hey, 50 gold, 50 gold. I guess that's what Jiejie will say at least.
It's like, you know what? I'm not dealing with this. We're just gonna force it on cooldown. So. NIP will just get another shove in bottom lane wave. They're making a lot of plays around this dragon. They want to put themselves in prime position. Solo Kill does have teleport, and he doesn't have ultimate coming up, but Herald now spawned in mid lane.
Yeah, there's a Nature's Grasp. It's already going to buy a lot of space. Rookie gets stunned up again by Doinb, but he's forced to go golden and wait for solo kill to arrive. Oh, the steadfast presence makes sure that Leave doesn't get all the way through with the killer instinct, and that could be disastrous here for NIP. Seismic Shove is going to find solo kill, and there's already 2 kills in favor of Invictus, and they're going to be able to look for more. Leave is singled out. Aki gets 1, but Leave is down. Meiko in some trouble, but he buys enough time for the rest of his team to come in, and Invictus Gaming will find themselves the ace.
Okay, so they're going to put themselves on Soul Point. A fantastic fight. Jiejie's Poppy, man. That steadfast presence, you noted it during the fight, stops Lee from flying in. Meiko's able to also keep his team alive with this Braum. It is so difficult for NIP if you know that you're not able to get a clean engage there. He also stops solo kill from going on in. That was exactly what we needed to see from IG to bounce back in this one. But look where the Maokai is. You get another ultimate where Maokai is nowhere near the engage. Pantheon is now late thanks to this ultimate. Jiejie basically made or broke this fight, and he made sure that it was a win for IG.
And it's just a little bit of a desync here for NIP. If Doinb was able to sync up with ppgod just a little bit more to make sure they were collapsing upon people at the same time, maybe the fight would have worked out a little bit better. Shout out to Aki for getting a couple of nice kills in the back end of this to make sure it's not a complete 5-for-0. But overall, IG very much the beneficiaries off of that play. Jiejie and Rookie both sitting at 3-0, approaching their second full items, and you know, NIP still have the gold lead. Let's remember that. But IG, if they can make sure they do not play these orthodox 5v5 team fights, they'll be feeling pretty good about themselves as well.
Okay, it's a 2v2, actually going to turn into a 3v3. Oh, everybody's here.
Oh, everybody's in the party, but all of a sudden, that's the Pantheon out of the picture as Jiejie once again comes up big with a massive Keeper's Verdict to make it a big numbers advantage here for Invictus Gaming. They take Doinb down, who's had himself a rough couple of minutes here in this game number 2, and IG at full prio around the top side. Otacon has just spawned as well.
They're going to trade these turrets. TheShy was able to grab one in bottom lane. He is still pushing, and he still has the Maiden. So it's going to be 3 turrets here coming on through for Invictus Gaming. They're not going to go for the Otacon. I think that would be an overstay on their part, but they're going to get so much global gold for themselves. And just the fact that they've opened up some of these lanes, I think is going to be a very, very big boon. It's just an investment, an over-investment from the Ninjas and Pyjamas there, trying to make that play happen. But now that Rookie has the Leandries and the Seraphs, that shielding and the additional HP that comes with the item is going to just make it that much tougher for them to really burst out this Taliyah.
I mean, they were having trouble with it already. You see Doinb not even able to like fully one-shot him with the Tibbers combos, with that full... using all of his sauce right onto Rookie, and now that Seraph Shield is gonna make it even harder. Speaking of that Taliyah, the Weaver's Wall gonna cut off ppgod, make sure the 4th tower of the game goes the way of Invictus Gaming. And the gold is less than 2,000. We can see that. You know, Leave is getting pretty strong with 2.5 items, but overall Invictus Gaming, they just feel infallible at this point, just given the composition that they do have.
What the hell is this build, Leave? We went Yuntal into Rageblade. What are we cooking, brother? Okay, look, when Leave speaks, I listen. Okay.
Yep.
I've been the biggest Leave apologist on the broadcast. I've had my qualms with him, but I really do feel you give this guy a little bit more time, you give him a couple more reps here on the LPL, and he's gonna turn out to be one of our best AD carries. He's already proven that, I think, a few times here, that he has the potential to be an amazing AD carry in the league.
They're shouting it out too on the broadcast. They're like, what is he building? What is he cooking?
Yup. They know. There are items being bought in this guy. Now, if he wins, results-based analysis says that this was the correct play. We'll have to we'll keep a track on this, but right now we're seeing a posture on the top side. I think if this play does not go off immediately for IG, you can kind of see them posturing around this Otacon. You are more focused in a minute and a half's time around that dragon. That is soul for IG if they can secure it.
And on that similar note, NIP want to make sure they put a stop to that, just like they did a couple of times in game number 1. But now it's NIP wanting to try to force IG away from the dragon pit as they start up the Otacon. And they're a little bit out of position, at least for now. Jiejie is in the area, does have the Keeper's Verdict to try to send Aki away. That would make the smite advantage a lot easier to go for. As the Otacon's at 5,000, now it's started off by IG. Jiejie still looking for the play, still looking for the smite. Aki is forced away, and that means that IG say thanks for the leash and pick up the Otacon for themselves. Leaf still wants to party. They still want to try to fight this one out here, as there comes the Grand Starfall. Aki going in with solo kill, and that's the combo that we were looking for Ninjas and Pyjamas. They already find the kill on Meiko, and they force a flash away from the side, but Leaf will follow him up. It is going to be Aki falling eventually, and solo kill dashing away, and a 2-for-1 overall setup for NIP.
Unironically, not bad for Ninjas and Pyjamas. They gave over the Otacon. The Otacon is a win more objective. This should be the Dragon going over to NIP. They're going to reset back out onto the map. I think they're going to have better numbers coming into this play. They actually did see leave. Well, they're not going to actually see leave and solo kill, but I think that they actually, from the side of NIP, played that sequence really, really incredibly. We got to see the Grand Starfall happen at the same time as a Scion ult, so an instant delivery system. I say that NIP did not back quick enough. They're going to be late to this, and there's no place for Aki.
As long as Leave can get here, it would be secure, but it should be the Infernal Soul in for Invictus Gaming because Aki died. And even though NIP had the numbers advantage, they weren't able to force out IG. Now here comes the fight. It is a 5v4 as everybody has respawned, and Leave is caught out and taken down by Gala. Now here comes TheShy, still looking to chase as all of IG are grouped up still. Aggressive here for TheShy. He's going to pay for it potentially with his life, but he heals up nicely with the help of Meiko, who pops the Unbreakable, and he's looking for Doinb, when now it's to go golden. Aki finally arriving. Keeper's Verdict sends away the Shen, and that means the IG have full prio around this mid lane to take this tier 2 down.
I would like to apologize to everybody in the audience. The NIP cope had immediately made its way into my brainstem, so I apologize. They did not get the Otacon. And now they also lost the soul. So I'm gonna do a little bit of revisionist here. I'm gonna clear the record. IG came out huge for that topside fight.
They got the Otacon. That was the important part. And I think the thing that we kind of glazed over a little bit is the fact that Aki did go down as the one casualty in that fight. That meant there was no available smite for the Dragon, and Jiejie did a really nice job at immediately trying to get out of there, head back to base, run straight to the pit because he knew that he had the smite advantage. And NIP, again, slow on the resets there, weren't able to get there in time.
You would think with the fact that they have 2 globals that they'd be able to be a little bit quicker on the play, but again, Aki going down, a big investment on that. I think even just sending the Aki ultimate, that was just NIP again overplaying their hand. You lost the Otacon, you let one member die, reset, and just go for the bottom side. Get your vision down. I don't know why we have to invest all of our ultimates for this play. Aki will have ultimate again. There's another Shen ultimate coming up in 6. He needs to make a Baron seal, and even then that might be the end of the game.
With the help of Gala, I mean, it's already down before Aki can even get into the pit, so now they're just looking for the fight. The Grand Starfall comes out, but Jiejie with a really nice heroic charge is going to make sure that Gala's alive for now.
Oh, and
the Blade Caller will take down solo kill before the taunt even finishes its channel time. It's a double kill picked up for Gala. Doinb dies on the backside to TheShy, and Invictus Gaming with full control of game number 2, looking to take down NIP.
Well, it's time to end NIP's Game 2 merchant status. We're going to get push in mid, we're going to get push in top lane, we're going to take all of these structures and look to try to end this game right now. They have 2 grubs as well. Demolish should end this one up. And maybe this is just going to be IG finally finding a win versus Ninjas and Pyjamas in 2025.
It's just Leave and ppgod left alive against all 5 members of Invictus Gaming. They take down the top inhib. They will back away, though, knowing that Solo Kill and Aki are about to respawn. So the game will continue, but right now, IG feel great about their position. They are up 8,000 gold, and they look poised to jump up to 9-7 overall in the LPL Ascend group.
And if you think that it was already difficult enough, now there's Shield Bow here for Gala. There's a Seeker's Arm Guard in the inventory of Rookie. We take a look at this replay. I don't care what else has happened in this game. Jiejie has just now earned himself 2 MVPs for this series. 1 in game number 1, and this Poppy game has been nothing but spectacular. A Poppy ultimate to get rid of a lot of the front line. Leave the bottom lane of NIP are no longer in this fight. He also stops Aki from doing anything. This Poppy in general has been very good across the league. And honestly, across a couple of plays, he might have just won the game there for Invictus Gaming. I'm going to be honest, I know I defended Leave on the build a little bit ago. I now see an Asher's Tooth. There's nothing I can say here to defend this.
Do we even have the AD upgrade? I don't. You told
Yes, we do. Because Rageblade gives a bit of AD. Because remember, it's his pickaxe.
Okay. So at least we get all 3 of the upgrades, I guess. But we'll see if it ends up paying off here for Leave, as he's now down very far behind Gala and the rest of Invictus Gaming. Solo kill with a deep TP, as you mentioned. And they're going to look to try to cut them off here with the Grand Starfall. Lock down Gala. There's the big taunt, but it's not nearly enough follow-up here for NIP. And Gala will be able to send back the feathers, rip up a double kill for himself. And by the way, the rest of IG, or the rest of NIP, I should say, are in the base because of Jiejie's Keeper's Verdict. 2v5 on the map. It is just Leave and Doinb. Leave uses the killer instinct, try to get away. There's a Tibbers. It does a little bit of damage, but not nearly enough. And finally, Rookie will get his revenge over NIP in the 2025 season. For the first time in 2025, it is IG getting the victory over Ninjas in Pyjamas. They jump up to 9-7 overall and are on the hunt for that top 4 spot.
IG, they're starting to go on a little bit of a run here. We had some questions after that loss to AL, that loss to Top Esports. Were they going to look as competitive? Their next 2 matches were Thunder Talk and WE. They went to 3 games with both of those teams. Then we were thinking, okay, can JDG make it through their Hell Week? They lose their first series up against TES. IG end up also winning that game against JDG. They have another 2 matches after this. They have FPX, and they play against BLG as their last series of the season. If they even go 500, they're probably still not making it into 4th place. They need to win, and they need to be dominant in every single one of them if they want any chance of an auto bid into playoffs.
Especially because of what JDG has looked like as well. And I think that's the biggest story that we can really tell going into the back half of this second round robin towards the end of the regular season, is that the teams that have been kind of floundering in the middle of the pack, we're really starting to see some of them separate. We saw BLG go on this great run with Beishuan inserted into their lineup. JDG suddenly looking very strong. Despite getting 2-0'd by IG just a little bit ago, they've won a couple of series in a row. And now Invictus Gaming as well are 3 teams that were really struggling in the first round robin. It looked like we were really in a 2-team league. All of a sudden, it looks like we got 5 teams that can really contest for the top if they look like the way that they're looking right now.
All right, and with that win, with the series going the way that it has, Weibo are now also locked for play-ins. So they are still going to have to battle their way. A lot of our seeding is still not complete. Obviously, I think it is most likely that AL and Top Esports are probably going to be top 2 in the league. But now with Weibo already into play-ins, I think it is so fitting that BLG, JDG, and Invictus Gaming are playing for 2 final spots. Most likely just for 4th when you're looking at JDG and IG, especially just with the fact that BLG would have to go on a monumental loss streak here. But no signs of stopping, it looks like, from BLG camp.
Yeah, and that's going to be a really fun matchup tomorrow. It's our 2nd series of the day. It is our match of the week in Week 7 of the LPL. Billy Gaming against JD Gaming. Winner in a really good position to claim that top 4. BLG with a win, I think, would absolutely confirm it, if I'm not completely mistaken. And they would, in general, that's just such a hotly contested, exciting game. We cannot wait for you guys to be able to watch it here on LPL English. So again, make sure to tune in same time tomorrow. But going back to what IG have been looking like, again, like we've mentioned, even though they have the toughest path to getting that top 4 spot, even though they might not get it at the end of the day, ending their season on a hot streak after what was really a bad middle portion of the season would be a really big confidence booster for this squad going into playoffs.
They have been just streaky, man. Invictus Gaming have been very streaky. We see them not really take, I think, the highs of like a 6 series win streak like we saw from Billy and from Top Esports earlier on into the season, but it's these games where it's like, we don't know what version of Invictus we're going to get. We don't know what version of Gala and Meiko. They have been slowly starting to turn it up in the back end, but I feel like we're kind of waiting for that next series. Like, when are you going to prove us wrong? When are you going to find a kind of like break that curse and actually be that top level team that you were promising at the beginning of the year? This is a super team through and through. Same thing with a team like JDG. They're supposed to be coming in, names on paper, fresh roster, and trying to win a trophy here. And I mean, for both of them, it hasn't looked good in Split 1, but both of them, I think, making really big changes and I think upgrades to themselves coming into Split 2, especially now with lane swaps out. I think it's exciting, but everybody in the back of their minds is kind of just waiting for Invictus to fall and kind of make that big slip up. A lot of people are looking at their downfall.
And you know what? It would be up to IG, and it'd be very fitting of IG to try to prove the haters wrong here. As you know, I think both mid laners for JDG and IG, as these are kind of the teams that are still fighting for that top 4 spot. And Rookie and Scout, they both had great series today. I think, you know, despite some of the struggles that they were facing a little bit earlier on in the season, if they can continue their play and continue to look good. Again, these 2 former world champions in the mid lane, that just makes for a much more entertaining LPL, a much more competitive LPL, and it is fitting that these super teams are kind of scaling up for playoffs because that is what they were built for at the end of the day. Exactly.
And for NIP, now they're on a 2-series loss streak. Obviously, they were able to break it a little bit ago with a win over FPX, but this is tough. Or sorry, they're on a 3-series loss streak now. Pretty tough, all things considered. Just this team does not look good right now, unfortunately. Like, a lot of problems, and even though we talked about, like, hey, Leave has to be a big carry for this team, even that has been faltering, especially in recent memory. So I know that a pretty early narrative for us coming into Split 1 was like, okay, Doinb, regular season MVP, but, you know, can Leave and the rest of this team kind of pick it up. It feels like they were supposed to be like the bar of entry getting into playoffs. I don't even feel like that's necessarily the case. I have depending on their matchups going into not only play-ins, but also the first round of playoffs, there's a real possibility that because they start in the lower bracket, they could just have to find themselves at a really early exit.
Which would be pretty shocking considering what their kind of makeup was going into split number 1, right? Where they beat IG in a best of 5. They made it to top 8 very easily. They then had a bit of a rougher playoff showing, even though they played some really competitive series in that bracket. But overall here for Ninjas in Pyjamas, bit of a downfall for them. It seems like when teams like FPX and WE came into Group Ascend after not making the playoffs in Split 1 and were able to make the most of that opportunity and climb up in the standings, taking victories here and there, NIP have not been able to do that to the same effect.
Yeah, I love that kind of juxtaposition of the different teams, right? Because we looked at, you know, the 3 teams coming in at the bottom, Thunder Talk, FPX, and WE. We were like, okay, you guys are the happy to be here squad. Like, congratulations, participation medal. We'll see you in play-ins for playoffs. You're most likely locked for like that bottom slot. But I mean, WE going on like a 5-win streak. We haven't seen that. I mean, that's more wins than Ninjas in Pyjama have in total. FPX finding some level of consistency and being able to find those really high performances for some of their players, bouncing them back in. They went on runs and they showed that they deserve to be here. As Gala gets MVP, I feel bad for Jiejie. He definitely deserved it this game on the Poppy, but you know what? Hats off to you, man. You played really well on the TheShy, and you had a really easy game in front of you.
It's one of those big numbers games, I think, for Gala, who, don't get us wrong, played admirably in these team fights, was able to get a lot of really nice blade collars and was collapsed upon multiple times, but I think the reason that he was able to find a lot of the fights was because of the rest of the team around him, as Jiejie specifically, like, never making it a fair fight.
Robbed. That's all I gotta say. Robbed.
I feel like a lot of I feel like we've been agreeing with them more often. I'm glad it was a 4-0. So, yeah,
we got a 4-0 today.
For a behind-the-scenes look, all the talent that you saw on your screen today, not originally scheduled for the day. So hope that, of course, everything is going well for the people that weren't able to make it. But we were, you know, all the super subs came in, and it looks like the LPL gods blessed us with a bit of a shorter day.
Yeah, thank you again to production Alex. I know that our producer has been a little bit under the weather for today and also was on yesterday, so if everybody could wish him, as well as Trouble, one of the people who wasn't able to make it here today. I really wanted to say thank you to Trouble. Unfortunately, she was not able to be here because she is feeling a little bit under the weather as well. Maybe it's just something over in the EU that's going around. But hope that you guys can send both of them well wishes as we close out today's show.
100%. And a big shout out to both you all and Cubby, who is about to hop on a flight, apparently, as we saw earlier on the show, for making some last-minute adjustments to your plans and being able to appear on the show in her stead. But again, thank you so much to everybody who tuned in to today's coverage of the LPL here on LPL English, as, of course, we had 2-0 series to kick off this day. Jiejie with a 2-0 over FPX, and then IG with a 2-0 over Ninjas in Pyjamas. Both different results than last time around. But before we go, we want to give a very big thank you to our Elite Coffee supporters, Aaron Soup, Mung, and Forrest Without. Their pledged financial contributions help level up the broadcast and give back to the cast of crew who help to strive to give you an English LPL product every single day. Make sure you tune in tomorrow, though. Same time, same place, 5 a.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. GMT, whatever time zone that you're in, because it is
Match of the week.
Incredible day of gameplay that we will have here on LPL English. We start things off to see if Weibo can snap their loss streak against the best team in the LPL in top esports. Seems like Ulk's not super excited about that. But then, our match of the week, BLG against Jiejie. These two teams that are rising towards that top 4 at the same time, battling for the opportunity to clinch themselves a spot in playoffs. Thank you very much for everybody who tuned in, and we'll see you all tomorrow for more LPL.